So these are called tower functions. I don't refer to them as that most of the time, but what I will do is show you how you generally deal with them, and I think that should be enough to help you when you encounter one of them in the future. It's more important to remember the strategy you use than to remember the name the function has. So we have f of x equals to x sine x. I think the best way to deal with that type of function is to notice that x is the same as e to the ln of x. And then using properties of exponents, when you have a power like that, you can just repeat the base and multiply the exponents. So now, if you're creative and if you take a second staring at that, you can think of the chain rule. This is your u, and then this function can be written as e to the u, where u is sine x ln of x. So then dy du is simple. It's just e to the u. You're deriving the exponential function, the natural exponential function. And then du dx is the derivative of this, which will require the product rule. So this will be d dx of sine x ln x. So that is the derivative of the first times the second. So cosine x ln x plus the first, the derivative of the second. So 1 to the x over x. So that is that. And then when you do that to calculate f prime of x, maybe I should put a in here. All before that is just prep work. That will be dy by the chain rule, du times du dx. So that's the chain rule. So dy du I found, e to the u. And then du dx is what I just calculated below with the product rule plus sine x over x. I can write like that because sine over 1, multiply the top, multiply the bottom, I get this. Now just to speed up my work, this e to the u was y, right, originally, so I can just write that instead. When I plug u back, I get this, and then I can just write e, well, actually this, right, x sine x. X raised to the sine of x, and that is cosine x times ln x plus sine x over x. And that's the answer. Maybe I should move that down just as much. There you go. Looks a little better. I'll box that so there's no confusion. B is asking me to calculate what's f prime of pi over 2. So I just plug in pi over 2 into this top function, because remember this was f prime of x. So if I plug in pi over 2, I'll get pi over 2 raised to the sine of pi over 2 cosine pi over 2 ln pi over 2 plus sine pi over 2 over pi over 2. If you remember where pi over 2 lives in the unit circle, pi over 2 is 90 degrees, so it lives over there. Sine is the y-coordinate, cosine is the x-coordinate. So this is the point 0, 1. So then the sine of pi over 2 is 1. The cosine of pi over 2 is 0. So that will be pi over 2 raised to the first power times 0 times ln of pi over 2. So that's going to be 0 anyway. I won't need that. And the sine is 1 over pi over 2. So that will give pi over 2 times 1 over pi over 2. How cool is that? So a number multiplied by its reciprocal, like 2 times 1 over 2, or 3 times 1 over 3. Pi over 2 times 1 over pi over 2 is just 1. that's the answer to this problem.